Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today in this video we will be going to understand Jean Piaget theory of cognitive development. This theory is really very interesting theory. So biography of Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget was born on August 9, 1896. He was a Swiss psychologist and developmental theorist best known for his groundbreaking work on children's cognitive development. So Jean Piaget is having a great impact and great contribution in the children's cognitive development. Now let's understand the theory of Piaget. Jean Piaget believed that children are active learners, not passive receivers. So this means children do not simply absorb information from parents, teachers, or books like a sponge. Instead, they actively explore, question, touch, test, and experiment with the world around them. So a children learns by doing, not by being told. So here Piaget focus on the concept of learning by doing, not on memorizing, not on rote learning. For example, a child understands fire is hot not because someone explained it in detail, but because through experience, observation, or guidance, the child construct their own understanding. Piaget also said knowledge is constructed through experience. According to him, learning is not something that is transferred from one mind to another. So every child builds knowledge step by step based on what they already know, what they experience in daily life. So this is why two children of the same age may understand the same situation differently because their experiences are different. Another very important point is cognitive development occurs in universal stage. Yes, this is very important point. These stages appear in the same order for all children. Regardless of culture or country, a child cannot skip a stage or jump directly to advanced thinking. So each stage prepares the mind for the next stage, just like a child must crawl before walking. So the mind must pass through each stage of thinking in a sequence. Finally, Piaget emphasized that each stage reflects a new way of understanding the reality. So this means that children grow, they do not simply learn from facts, they actually think in a completely different way. We can understand this concept with the help of one example, like a young child believes quantity changes when shape changes, and older child understand that quantity remains the same. So the change is not in information, but it is in the thinking of ability. So in a gist we can say, according to Piaget, cognitive development is not about how much a child knows, but how a child thinks at the different stages. The key concepts of Piaget. Schema. Schemas are mental structure or framework that help children organize and interpret information. We can take one example, like a child schema of dog may include four legs, fur, and tail. Schemas continuously change as a child gain new experiences. Second is assimilation. Assimilation is a process of fitting new information into existing schema. We can take one example, like when a child sees a cow for the first time and call it a dog, the child is assimilating the new experience into existing schema. Accommodation. Accommodation occurs when existing schema are modified or new schemas are formed to deal with new information. For example, when the child learns that a cow is different from dog, the child creates a new schema. Equilibration is the process of maintaining balance between assimilation and accommodation. When child experience confusion, they adjust their thinking to regain mental balance. This process drives development from one stage to the next. Now let's discuss the stages of cognitive development. Piaget proposed four universal stages of cognitive development. So, first is sensory stage from birth to 2 years. In this stage, infant understand the world mainly through their senses like seeing, hearing, and touching, and motor activities like grasping, sucking, and crawling. So, thinking is closely linked to physical action. The child does not yet use symbols or languages to think. Learning happens through trial and error and direct interaction with the objects. So, what are the key characteristics of this stage? First is learning through sense and movement. Infant learn by touching, tasting, shaking, and throwing objects. Development of object permanence. It means initially infant believe that object disappear when they are out of sight. Gradually, they understand the object continue to exist even when not visible. We can take one example when a toy is hidden under blanket. A young infant does not search for it. An older infant search for it showing object permanence. Second is pre-operational stage 2 to 7 years. In this stage children begin to use language, symbols and imagination. But their thinking is still illogical and intuitive rather than logical. So, children understand the world from their own point of view and find it difficult to see things from others' perspective. What are the key characteristics? Rapid language development. Vocabulary increase quickly and children can express thoughts verbally. Egocentric thinking. The child assumes that everyone seeing the world the same way they do. Symbolic and imaginative thinking. Objects can represent other things like stick become a sword, etc. Lack of logical reasoning. Thinking is based on appearance rather than logic. We can take one small example to understand this concept more deeply. Like when the same juice is poured into a short wide glass, a tall thin glass. The child believes that taller glass has more juice because they focus on height, not quantity. Third is concrete operational stage. At this stage, children begin to think logically, but their thinking is limited to concrete and real objects. Abstract ideas are still difficult. So, children can now perform mental operations like classification, ordering, and understanding relationships. Are the key characteristics of this stage? Logic thinking about concrete objects. Children can solve problem involving real things they can see or touch. Understanding of conservation. They understand that quantity remains the same even when appearance changes. Ability to classify the order. Objects can be grouped and arranged logically. We can take one example like a child understand that water poured into different shape containers still has the same quantity. This shows logical thinking and conservation. Next is formal operational stage, 11 years and above. This stage marks the development of abstract thinking. Adolescents can think beyond concrete experiences and understand hypothetical situations. They can reason logically, they think scientifically, and reflect on moral and philosophical issues. What are the key characteristics? Abstract and hypothetical thinking, thinking about ideas, theories, and possibilities. Scientific reasoning, ability to form hypotheses and test them mentally. Moral and philosophical thinking, understanding justice, equality, and ethics. Like we can understand this concept with the help of example. An adolescent can discuss social justice, climate change, what would happen if human live forever. So they require the abstract thinking. So Piaget four stages explain how children progress from sensory to abstract reasoning, showing that cognitive development involves changes in how children think, not just what they know. So, this is the short table of all these stages we have discussed: sensory motor, how child thinks, sensory and motor actions, how teachers should teach activities, toys, play, and physical activities, Pre-operational stage symbolic but illogical. Stories, pictures, role play, etc. activities can be used in the classroom. Concrete operational, logical, and concrete. It means that experimental model examples can be used in the classroom while teaching. Formal operation, abstract and logical, debates, projects, social discussion, problem solving types can be used in the classroom. Jean Piaget theory of cognitive development had a deep impact on modern education. So, according to Piaget, children do not learn like adults, their thinking develops step by step, and teaching should be planned according to their mental level. So, because of this, education today focus more on child, not just on syllabus. So, let's discuss major education implications of Piaget theory. First is child centered learning. Piaget believed that children are not passive learners, they are active. They construct knowledge by interacting with their environment. This means teaching should be based on child development stage. The same method cannot be used for all groups. And what is suitable for a teenager may not be suitable for young children. So every individual is different. Their needs, their ability, and their interests are different. Second is learning by doing. According to Piaget, children learn best through direct experience. He strongly opposed rote memorization, learning without understanding. Instead, he supported active based learning, experiments, and hand on experiences. Third is readiness principle. One of the Piaget most important idea is the readiness principle. This means the child should be taught a concept only when they are mentally ready. Forcing learning before readiness leads to confusion, not understanding. Next is role of teacher. In Piaget theory, the role of teacher is not just to give information. The teacher act as guide, facilitator, or a supporter. So instead of lecturing all the time, teacher should encourage exploration, ask questions, provide activities, and help students in discover answers of their own. So the teacher creates learning environment, but the child actively learns. Curriculum design, which is very important, Piaget theory also influence how curriculum should be designed. According to him, the curriculum should move from simple to complex and from concrete to abstract. This means that first children should learn simple ideas before difficult ones. Real objects and examples should be used before abstract symbols. Criticism of Jean Piaget theory. First is underestimated children ability. Piaget believed that children could perform certain mental operation only after reaching a particular stage. So later researchers showed that children are more capable than Piaget assumed, so especially when tasks are simplified or presented a familiar ways. Second is stage may overlap. Piaget proposed that cognitive development occurs in a fixed and universal stages, and each stage must be completed before moving to the next. In reality, research indicates that development is more gradual and continuous. So, children may show characteristics of two stages at the same time, and the age at which they reach each stage varies. Third is ignores cultural and social factor, which is very important for the development of the child. Piaget focused mainly on biological maturation and individual discovery learning, giving little importance to social interaction, language, and culture. So he assumed that all children across the world develop cognitively in the same way, which is not possible. So psychologists like Vygotsky emphasized that cultural, language, and social environment play a major role in the cognitive development of the child. What is the conclusion of Jean Piaget theory? Children actively construct knowledge by interacting with their environment. Thinking develop in stages, each stage reflects a different way of understanding the world. Learning happens through experience, exploration, discovery, and not memorization. Strongly influence child centered education, respecting child age, readiness, and thinking level. Help us understand how children think, not just what they know. So, I hope students I try to explain this concept effectively. So if you understand the concept, you can like my video, and in my next video I will explain the Vygotsky theory. Thank you. Have a nice day.